Yeah, I don't think so. Fuck you, Miles Eckhart. Fuck you. And never call me again. Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is the Piracy Show. And what's going on here is basically I was running more missions. You know, I've been doing this Lawbiter stuff for a little while, just messing around with it, seeing what basically popped up, apart from Miles Eckhart's missions or anything that sends me to Levski or Delamar, because fuck that place. And it was right here when I realized that I had landed at the wrong platform, where I was supposed to return this package to one specific platform on Olisar, so I am now headed there. And this Reclaimer out of the corner of my eye, you know, kind of sparked my imagination, because I wanted to go out and do some more bounty missions. And in the past, we had joked about the Battle Reclaimer going all the way back to 2014 since its release and my purchase of that ship. I had always kind of speculated, I wonder if, because it's reputed to be a very tough ship, not a very high damage dealing ship obviously, but a very resilient ship, if you couldn't make a few bucks going around blowing up, I guess, potentially low value NPCs and then recycling their ship, their components, whatever, kind of magnifying the return. You know, I had kind of speculated, I wonder if that's possible. I wonder if that's something that you could actually make a fun living out of. But the question is how good would the Reclaimer actually be in combat? So I spawned in the big boy and decided to check it out. Now, previously, when 3.1 first came out, and I took the Reclaimer out for the first time around Daymar, I got attacked by a pirate caterpillar, a pirate Connie, and a Aegis Avenger. Or no, sorry, I think it was an Aurora. And I managed to kill all three, but the game in its state back then quickly reduced that combat to not so much a game, but rather a PowerPoint presentation of a game at the frame rates that it was running. And I mean, it was understandable. It was the first day of release. Things were definitely tough the very first few days of 3.1, as I'm sure you're no doubt aware. So I really hadn't done anything like that with the ship since, but I kind of wanted to go out and try to see what it was like. Just go grab some of the low-level NPC missions, the 310 rewards, and see if I couldn't maybe earn some kind of reward that way. Would it be worth it? Would it be too time consuming and therefore low reward? But even with that, because you know, you don't always want to measure everything that you do in your life by a spreadsheet, is it fun? That's the most important part. Is it fun? Am I enjoying myself? Am I having a good time? Could I see bringing out a few friends on the Reclaimer and just blowing shit up and then harvesting, you know, while doing these missions? Is it something worth kind of exploring just for a little while, just to have fun? So, first thing we got to do, go find our victim and try it out. Now, our first pirate is an Avenger, and he's at Cry Astro. And generally, when you get the bounty mission here, it's right on top of the station. So, not a long way to travel in the somewhat ponderous Reclaimer. But how is it going to do? Well, frame rates occasionally had a little bit of an issue, and the first combat was a little bit iffy because one of the guns decided that it was going to shoot somewhat cross-eyed, but it became kind of obvious that the Reclaimer on initial approach kind of works its way through the enemy shields pretty darned quickly. Now, it is not the most maneuverable ship out there, but it does have a heck of a lot of firepower. So, when you can bring the guns to bear, they kind of get the job done. Now, the next mission I chose was one of those go retrieve the stolen goods from such and such and then return it to so-and-so type missions. And once again, it's an Avenger. So, Avenger versus Reclaimer. Approaching a Reclaimer head-on with an Avenger, not the best choice. Tactically speaking, I think it would be a better choice to circle the Reclaimer, kind of work your way around it, try to evade the guns as best as possible. And I mean, truthfully, in the future, I'm sure that we are going to lose control of some of these guns, and they're going to defer that onto crew members or server blades or NPCs controlling them. And so the pilot won't have that direct control, but when they are under your direct control, as you can see, shields melt awfully damn quickly. And they vanish. Now, don't take this to mean that I'm selling the idea that the Reclaimer, especially on its own, piloted by one person, is in any way, oh my god, this thing totally pawns in PvE combat. Everyone should get one now. It's the greatest. Rawr. No, because this thing is clearly Retaliator / Eclipse / Harbinger / any torpedo bomber really bait. I mean, it's big, it's hard to miss, and it doesn't really hide too well, you know. So it's an interesting idea to explore. It's an interesting idea to play around with, because at the same time, undoubtedly, I mean, if you're smart, if you're using the scanners on this ship once we have them, if you're picking your fights, if you're controlling your situation, the Reclaimer can be an interesting ship in that respect. I mean, obviously, it's not something that's built to dish out a lot of firepower, but it's potentially something that could have a lot of situational awareness with those scanners, and it's built to be resilient, so it may not pack a heck of a lot of punch, but it may be able to absorb a lot of punishment, minus any catastrophic barrages of torpedoes, obviously. Now, of course, the Reclaimer also packs a lot of facilities that can add to potential reward and return of these types of missions. Of course, you do have to factor in time. I mean, you would be sitting there and doing the whole thing where you're then reclaiming the ship, recovering components, and you could be losing time there, whereas if you were out in a Super Hornet or even a Cutlass, you could be knocking things out, and of course, you have to deal with the Reclaimer's facilities don't always, work. But don't worry, it had a happy ending. But don't worry, eventually I was able to bumble and fumble through enough of the framework of the ship to eventually be ejected safely out into space, and my mission crate remained there in the airlock despite my being, you know, thrown into limbo. So I was quickly able to then go back to the airlock and retrieve the crate and then bring it safely into the ship. Now, one of the things that I'd like to stop and point out right now while we're talking about the Reclaimer and using it for different missions is one of the great features of the Reclaimer, and I'm one of the ones that I think is criminally under-respected by the community, is the great big roomy airlocks which allow you to kind of get in and out of the ship without, you know, evacuating the atmosphere out of the interior of the ship. A true mark of quality. Now, one of the big drawbacks, though, to the Reclaimer is it is a ponderously slow ship. So it took a long time to get this finally to its destination and its eager recipient, Mannequin Skywalker, here. And so, honestly, delivery missions in this ship, unless the rewards are quite exceptional, probably not the best way to spend your time. Now, eventually I did track down another bounty, and this was one of the ones around Yella that appears within the asteroid field, which has that annoying ability to constantly skip a certain amount of kilometers away from you as you get close to it. But eventually I was able to pin this target down and move in for the kill. Then something unexpected happened. Now, as you can see, we're kind of ripping those shields of his right down. He's hitting us with rockets. He's in a Mustang Delta, and boom! We collide. And then I turn to try and bring my ship to face him. You know, the Reclaimer isn't the fastest turner, but I figure I gotta be getting close to this guy. But he just seems to be out-turning me. I mean, could this be the revelation of the fatal weakness of the Reclaimer in this type of application? Could this be where I finally realized that there's no way you're ever going to have the maneuverability to fight a fighter? I mean, obviously, he's totally outmaneuvering you, right? No, that's not it. That's not it at all. I slipped into an exterior view to find him, and yep, there he is, wedged into my ship. He has glitched into the front end of my Reclaimer, and he's right there, just to the rear of the lights if you can't quite make it out. Sorry, the lighting isn't the best. I think I'm going to start trying to rotate the ship and spin it around, and you'll probably get a better view of it, but I mean, I understand that maybe he just wanted to be sacrificed to the Reclaimer. Maybe he wanted to be the first person to ever be salvaged by a Reclaimer. But, dude, it's not 3.3 yet. Calm down. You'll get your chance, just not right now. You have to learn to be like a Star Citizen backer. You have to be patient, my friend. Now, you might be asking yourself, how do you get out of this situation? Well, it's quite easy. You do what Harrison Ford did in Air Force One. You say, get off my plane. So, there he is. And now it's time to get rid of him. The funny thing is he starts yelling at me over the radio. It's like, oh, you must think you're really good, eh? Or whatever, you know, those lines that they say when you're fighting them. Yeah. Now, we've already run into one bug where we've slipped through the ship's geometry and then back out safely. And now we've run into another problem. You think, well, this has got to be the end of the video, because there's no way he actually gets himself out of this. There's no way that this strategy is actually going to work. Well, in fact, it does. I realize, okay, the guns that I had on me aren't going to do the job. What's going to do the job? Maybe the Devastator shotgun. Oh shit, dude. The joys of early access gaming. And it blows his wing off. I mean, I now have the remains of a Mustang Delta in my ship. I wonder if that'll be there through persistence the next time I log in. Spoiler alert, no it wasn't, I checked. It would have been funny though. Playing this game for maybe months with that thing stuck inside of the cockpit of my ship and people going, what's that? And it's like, oh, that's the Mustang Delta. But we have extricated ourselves from that situation, and, you know, that's done, but there's still the small matter of the bounty to collect. However, this pirate is now, well, he's just getting a little too close for comfort. Frankly, it's a little bit creepy. Not really comfortable right here, so unfortunately, I can no longer lock this ship for some reason. And, you know, he is shooting at me. Luckily, he doesn't seem to be using any rockets, but yeah, that we could just see him there for a second. It's time for this dude to go. As soon as we can get rid of him. And I'm trying to, like, strafe up, strafe sideways, strafe backwards, and it's just like, I don't know what was wrong with this NPC, but he just kept trying to hump up on my ship, so yeah, he just had to go. Easiest 310 credits I ever made. And our final catch of the day was this caterpillar cutlass, which eventually I did have to chase him down, but once I nailed him down, you know, it was interesting. Now overall, what kind of experience was this? Well, it kind of gave me some different ideas about a ship called the Caterpillar, and how I look at that ship, how I perceive it. And you know, honestly, if the Caterpillar is the armored transport that they say it is, I don't know, maybe get a couple of Apocalypse Death Ballistic, you know, size 4s on those turrets. It might be interesting if they can get that turret gameplay nailed down, if they can get that figured out. It gave me some interesting ideas about different ways that you can approach the missions in the game, and different things I would like to explore once, you know, a lot of these systems are kind of brought online and we can really explore it. I was expecting this to be more difficult than it actually was. I really was, and it was not that bad. Obviously, into the future, a lot of these turrets may not be under my control and may actually be either behind server blades, NPCs, or other players, but I had a good time, and it's allowed me to see some of the potential in this ship beyond just simply going up and just recycling space garbage. If there's one thing that I think CIG really could do is, I think you gotta kind of make Cryastro a little bit bigger. That's one upgrade I think you guys really need to squeeze in for 3.2. Anyways, that's the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Oh, only 99 to repair all that damage? Not bad.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.